What a great song to get us started off with. It's one of my favorites, reminding us that we are one with the one and have the qualities of the one, each of us. And we are discovering that more and more. So let's take that into prayer, and I invite you to close your own eyes and bring your attention into your hearts. As we take a nice deep breath, we center within, remembering who we are as powerful, creative, wise, and loving spiritual beings experiencing this human journey with its ups and downs and twists and turns. And in it all, we are here to express the highest and the best that we are. We are here to be creative and powerful, loving and wise. And so it is. Amen.
Welcome to Unity. My name is Vicki Krasinski. We recognize each of you as a wise, loving, powerful, spiritual being. Thank you for sharing your radiant power with us this morning. We're pleased you've chosen to be here with us today, either in person or online. If this is your first time being with us, please pick up in person. Please pick up a welcome packet in the foyer before you leave. Join me as we declare together our opening affirmation, which is in the bulletin or on the screen. Together, there is only one presence and one power in my life and in the universe, God, the good omnipotence. Cindy Shockley is going to share her Unity story with us today. And as we've already heard, it's been a long one here.
Thank you. It's not really a story. It's just what my experience has been. What my experience has been.
Closer.
Really. My spiritual journey started a long time ago when I read Wayne Dyer's first book, when he first wrote it. So that was, I was 5. And so, that showed me what I believed in. I knew it, I just didn't know how to talk about it or to incorporate it in my life. And then after a divorce and my kids growing up and leaving and things going on, I decided that I needed something a little bit more, and I started searching again. And I didn't like anything I found because I didn't care for the traditional worshiping churches, if you will. Not that I have a problem with any of them, it just didn't fit me. And so I remembered that my mom years ago had gone to Unity, and so I looked up to see if there was one close. And when I found Unity North Tampa's page, it said, if you like Wayne Dyer, or if you read The Secret and you believe in those things, this is the place for you. And it's like, well, okay, that's my place. And I started going in 2010, July 1st of 2010. And the first time I was there, I knew I had come home. And except for this year, I attended regularly. But this year has been difficult for all of us. My experience has been that this is a place that teaches you how you can not only take care of yourself and nurture yourself and get better at being yourself, but also to do that with other people and how to express that to other people and to guide other people and teach them where our control really lies. And I'm not a perfectionist at it yet. I'm a work in progress. But had it not been for Reverend Virginia and the way that she leads this congregation, I couldn't have done it. I wouldn't be where I am today at all. And that's why joining today is going to be so important for me. She was right. Every time we had this one last class I needed, I was out of town. But the most important thing is that I'd like to be a part of continuing what the Fantastic Four started all those years ago, because it really is an amazing, amazing place, and it's an amazing journey. So that's my story. Thank you.
And speaking of new members, today we have the honor of installing 4 new members of our congregation. And so it's with great pleasure that we accept these new members into our spiritual fellowship. Each time we accept new members, we are building on the foundation of our current members and all those who have been members during the 14 years of this ministry. The main requirement for membership in Unity is a genuine desire to know God and a desire to know and live spiritual principles as we understand them. Unity does not have a prescribed doctrine or creed other than to seek truth and to follow the only commandments that Jesus gave us, as recorded in Luke 10:27. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength, and with all your mind, and love your neighbor as you love yourself. In Unity, we recognize that a true place of worship is not a building. The real place of worship is the community of believers, of friends that have a common purpose and are sharing a goal of expressing the Christ within us. A spiritual home is not a building, but it is a community of friends who pray together. And we know that living in rented space, felt like it sometimes, when we were ministering from the other location in rented space, we were still a strong spiritual community. We're building that strength of unity and togetherness and a shared vision of having this new home that we are in now. And even with this glorious facility, we know that it's a wonderful place for this community to gather together, to pray together, and to serve together. That is the true church, or the true spiritual center. So we come together to encourage and inspire one another. We seek the strength and support that we find in togetherness. And I love this affirmation that Unity has. What one heart cannot bear alone, many loving hearts can overcome with faith. We come together to minister to one another, to work together for the common good. And as official members, we also support the spiritual family with our time, our talent, and our treasure to ensure its continuation and success so that it can continue to serve, to inform, to educate, and inspire. And each one of us has an important part in this community, in the whole of this spiritual family. Each one contributes to the diversity and at the same time to the harmony of the whole. So today, each new member is adding their uniqueness to our oneness as a spiritual community. In Ephesians chapter 4, the Apostle Paul gave us this charge as community members. Live as is worthy of your calling, with all humility and gentleness, and with patience, forbearing one another in love, endeavoring to preserve the harmony of the Spirit in the bond of peace, that you may become one body and one Spirit, even as you are called in the one hope. So lay aside former practices, the old person. Be renewed in the spirit of your mind, and put on the new person, who is created by God in righteousness and true holiness. Be kind to one another and tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as God has forgiven us through Christ. We are honored and grateful for these dear friends that have chosen this spiritual home as the place where they will give and receive agape love and spiritual support. So I ask our new members to come up. So So if I put two of you on this side and two of you on this side, great. So they have attended. We normally like to have someone involved at least a year before they take on official membership. And all of these friends have met that criteria. And also, we have questions now because they have been informed of what it means to be a member and what is expected of them as members. So I have the questions to ask you. Do you agree with the ideals expressed in unity and pledge active participation in this spiritual community?
Yes.
Do you agree to support this ministry with your love and prayers as well as with your gifts of time, talent, and treasure? And so on behalf of Unity, it is my great honor and privilege, especially this time, because these members are joining knowing that we are headed to a new horizon, that we are in transition, an important transition. And Cindy, you just expressed that so beautifully. You want to be a part of the continuing greatness of this spiritual community, so thank you. So we have for each one of you a certificate to recognize your membership. And the first is to you, Billy. Thank you for becoming a member. Thank you. And Cindy, thank you. And Ed, Takaris, thank you. And Mitch. So also in your little folder, in addition to a certificate of membership, is a gift certificate that you can go to the bookstore and select the book of your choice as our gift to you as new members and thanks to you. So, and as I said, it is an honor to receive you into membership, and we're grateful for each one of you. So normally we would have, we would sing the I Behold the Christ in You, but today we're going to give these friends a unity blessing. So if you don't know the unity blessing, I invite all of you to remember this, because we use this from time to time, as many of you know. And yes, please raise your hands and open palms, sending your love to these new members. And I invite you all to receive the love being sent to you as we affirm and say to them together. We love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ in you. Amen. So it is. Thank you so much. So after the service, I invite you to extend your congratulations and welcome to each one of our friends with a beautiful, loving namaste. Thank you.
Now it's time for the Daily Word. The Daily Word has daily devotions that inspire people around the world. As we affirm today's message, we become global prayer partners with others, sharing the same positive intentions for the good of all. We ask that you center within now and listen deeply as we share today's message. Roger Bensinger will share the Daily Word in English, and Chiki Shonwitz will share the message in Spanish. Oh, sorry, I have another thing here. Let's listen to I Am a Gift in preparation for meditation.
No, that comes seconds after it. I'm sorry, the order may be wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead with the day
In
word.
which case, take it
His
away,
time to
Roger.
Roger.
Good morning. I'm Roger. The Daily Word. Healing. My thoughts, words, and actions affirm divine life. Today, I give thanks for the constant activity of divine healing life, especially when my body is experiencing illness. To bolster my awareness of my capacity for healing, I place my attention on my inherent wholeness. I affirm life in my thoughts, my words, and my actions as I care for my body and meet its needs. My faith assures me that illness is not the truth of me, nor is it my enduring reality. Through my actions, I am affirming wholeness as my true nature and encouraging my healing. Even when I'm not facing illness, I greet every day by blessing my body, affirming my wholeness, and the ongoing activity of divine life in every organ, every cell. I give thanks for the gift of divine life by giving thanks for my healing and living joyously. He said to her, "Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace." Luke 8:48.
Buenos días. La palabra de hoy es sanación. Afirmo la vida divina con mis pensamientos, mis palabras y mis acciones. Hoy doy las gracias por la constante actividad de la vida sanadora y sagrada que fluye en mí, especialmente si mi cuerpo tiene una dolencia. Para suscitar mi capacidad para sanar, dirijo mi atención a la actividad de Dios en mí. Lo afirmo con mis pensamientos, palabras y acciones. Cuido de mi cuerpo, lo bendigo y atiendo sus necesidades. Mi fe me asegura que la enfermedad no es mi verdad. Al orar y meditar afirmo que mi bienestar es mi verdadera naturaleza. Mi convicción de ello incentiva mi sanación. Aún cuando me siento bien, recibo cada día dando gracias por mi cuerpo, afirmando su salud y la actividad divina en cada órgano, en cada célula. Agradezco con gozo el don de la vida divina en mí. Y de Lucas 8:48 afirmo: entonces Jesús le dijo: hija, tu fe te ha sanado, ve en paz. Y que así sea. Y bendiciones para todos.
Now let's listen to I Am a Gift in preparation for meditation. We remind you not to sing along, but please hum the melody if you'd like to.
So I invite you to join me now in this time of meditation. And we begin by finding that comfortable position in the chair, just sitting as straight as is comfortable for us to allow for a flow of breath, a flow of energy, and to sit in attention to the divine presence within us. And so with our outer eyes closed, we bring our attention into our hearts. And I invite you to just relax, allowing your shoulders to drop. Allow a feeling of peace and relaxation to flow over you from the crown of your head all the way down through your body to your feet, to the tips of your toes and the tips of your fingers. And relaxing jaw muscles and the tiny muscles around your eyes. Allow this to be a time to set aside any concerns, a time of centering within, aligning with that place of peace within us that is never disturbed by the things of the world. For it is part of our divine identity, the peace of knowing that all is well, no matter the appearances or events in the outer. There is a perfect peace that cannot be disturbed. And in this peace, we find rest and renewal. We find understanding and inspiration. We find answers. We find healing of mind, body, and spirit. And so I invite you to relax even more with conscious breathing. Exhaling first as much as you can, contracting the belly muscles, releasing the air, and releasing. And then breathe in deeply, allowing the belly to expand as you breathe in. Filling the belly and the chest with air. And then releasing again in a full and gentle exhale. Again, we breathe in deeply, opening to the breath, expanding with the breath. And we exhale and let go again. Again, we breathe deeply, welcoming the breath and welcoming awareness of our own divinity. And this time we exhale and release with a sigh. Just feeling relief, release, and peace. And I invite you to let your attention continue to rest on the breath. Be the observer of the breath. Notice the breath. Notice the movement. Notice the movement of the body as you breathe. The sensation of the breath coming in and going out. Notice the inhale and the exhale. Notice that pause between the inhale and the pause from the exhale to the next inhale. Giving our attention fully to the breath. When other thoughts arise, we just let them go and come back to the breath. If we hear any distractions or discomfort in the body, we just come back to the breath. Every time a wayward thought arises, don't be upset. Just gently bring your attention back to the breath. Keep returning inward. And every day, if we can take time to be with the breath, giving it our full attention, so that other thoughts and distractions simply dissolve away, we experience that peace that is within us. And in that peace, there is a pause from busyness, a pause from thinking, a pause from waves of emotions, a pause from concerns. In this peace, we find clarity. In this peace, the body can heal, the emotions can heal. In this pause, centered in stillness and peace within, we find who we really are. How wonderful, how magnificent. We find our wholeness, deeper compassion and understanding. Cuando nos centramos adentro de nuestros corazones, alineamos con el poder de paz divina. Recibimos inspiración, sanación, transformación. So I invite you now to pause for a few moments in the silence, being present to the breath, returning to the breath after every distraction, to find the pause of stillness within you for a few moments in the silence. And respiramos profundamente. We breathe again deeply, bringing our attention back to the body. As we give thanks for this knowing that every day we need an appointment with ourselves, with the higher self. We need to take time to sit with that divine of ourselves, in peace, in compassion and understanding, that we may return to daily life renewed and strengthened, being more aware of how blessed we are, being more aware of who we are as spiritual beings having this human experience, knowing that we are more than capable of meeting every circumstance, that we can go through but also grow through every experience of life to a greater expression of the divine within. And so it is. We claim that truth for all people everywhere. And we take time to hold that truth for those with whom we would like to pray. So as you call to mind those you would like to hold in prayer, as you think of each one, do not think of their difficulties, but think of their wholeness and well-being. See them peaceful and radiant. Feel your joy and gratitude of their greatness, of their happiness, of their joy, of the good coming to them no matter the circumstances. Hold these thoughts in your heart as you now say silently or out loud the name of each person with whom you want to pray. continue to hold that truth for each one. Every time we are concerned or worried, let us let that go and come back to their truth. Knowing their wholeness and well-being, feeling our joy and gratitude for that truth as we support them in expressing their highest and best. And so it is. Amen. Please join me now as we affirm together, as Jesus taught us to pray our Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. And give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we have also forgiven our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from error. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. So I hope transition has not become a dirty word for you. We don't like change. We don't like having things different because we don't like the unknown. We don't like not knowing what's going to happen next. We don't like not knowing what's going to be expected of us as things go forward. So because we are going through this transition as a community, we have been reading and studying the book, Finding Yourself in Transition, which explains a lot about what goes on inside of us as we go through the different steps of transition and change. One of the things that we are most afraid of in life is unexpected changes. Those that catch us off guard, those that challenge our beliefs, those that bring up anxiety in us and sometimes anger and bitterness, and most of all those that cause us grief, the grief of loss, the grief of things not being the way we were. When people leave our lives, when we move to a new home or a new town, when there's a divorce, when there's a serious illness, and those are the big ones, and there's many more of those. And then there's the little daily changes. You ever have that day you start out and you're feeling great, you know, everything is divine order is already established for me, and before you get out the door, something happens that changes your mood completely. And it's like, ooh, what a lousy day. No. It is another opportunity for us to come back to center, to remember this is small. There are much greater qualities and powers and strengths within me to deal with whatever comes up, whether I like it or not. I heard someone say, I am too blessed to be stressed. So when we think about all of the blessing in our lives, when we think about that we have the capacity to deal with challenges, to think about and understand cosmically that we came here to be challenged. Do you remember signing up for that? Do you regret it now? No. Because we came to find out how strong we can be in different challenges. See, God is affirming. We came here to find out how wise we can be, how compassionate, understanding, accepting, and forgiving we can be, starting with ourselves, being kind, compassionate, and understanding with ourselves as well as with others. We came here to grow and expand. We came here to be greater every moment. We came here to be who we truly are and find out, because of the challenges that we face, what is within us, how much that we have forgotten is within us. And knowing that with each step, we become more and more aware, we become a greater expression of the divine that we already are. And so this book, Finding Yourself in Transition, has helped us to understand a lot. And many of you who have bought the book, whether you're did study it with us in the class, or whether you're reading this on your own, you found that this book has a lot to teach us, a lot to help us get through life's changes. And so many people have come and said, oh, I got to buy more of these for my friends, for my family. So we had to order more books. So we have more books in the bookstore now for those of you who want to give them away to others, because you realize the value in this book. And so one of the first things we learn out of the book is we don't like change. But yet, life is all about change. So as we learn in the book, life is about change. I mean, without change, there's no growth. So to fear change is to fear life. But if we remember that all this change is an opportunity for growth in every circumstance, it's an opportunity for us to become more aware, self-aware, and self-expressive. So if we know that it's the personality self that has this fear, it's the human self that doesn't like change because it doesn't like the unknown. It doesn't like unpleasant surprises. It would like things to be status quo. And many times in life we'll be going through several changes, and then there'll be a pause, kind of a plateau, and then next thing you know, there's more changes. And as we said, every day is full of little changes that we encounter. In addition to the weather changing, whatever's changing, our relationships, how we see ourselves and others, how our interactions change, how our goals change. Everything changes every day, from one breath to the next, one moment to the next. And the human being likes to be in control. If you haven't noticed, the ego wants to control everything and will do its best. But what its best is not our best all the time. So this fear comes up. But in this time of change, there is great opportunity for growth, for expansion, for new insights, new understanding, new abilities, new powers, or new expression of our powers, rather. And so we also learn in the book that there are 3 stages to change. So we have the next. So the ending, the void, and the new beginning. I really wish there was another name for the void, because the void is a very important time. The ending, of course, is what we are in right now, full blown. As a spiritual community, my life, and many of you are going through endings in your lives as well. You're having challenges with health. You maybe have lost a loved one. You may be retiring yourself. You may be going through a move, a divorce. Many ways, many of you I know are going, because I've been praying with you, are going through these changes. And so endings can be very upsetting to us, of course. And one of the greatest emotions that we feel is grieving. Grieving the loss of how things used to be. Grieving kind of knowing you thought you knew what was going on, whether you did or not. And so the things that I want it to be like it was. Now, post-pandemic, we are looking at, people are saying, well, I can't wait to get back to normal. Newsflash, it will not be like it was before. And some of that we won't like, and some of it we will, because there have been blessings in this pandemic. We've been able to connect electronically. We find out how important our close relationships are. We find out how important our spiritual community is. We find new strengths with us, new creativity, new insights, and new wisdom, hopefully. And because just in the pandemic and every change we go through, we don't want to just get through it to survive it. We want to thrive in it. We want to not just go through it, we want to grow through it. And in order to grow through it, we need to consciously go through these 3 stages. Consciously being aware of the emotions that come up, because there are lots of them. And they're conflicting emotions sometimes. And so in every stage there are different emotions. And then we move back and forth between the 3, because it's not a linear process. Neither is anything in our lives really a totally linear process, although we measure linear time to help us find a space in which to express. So one of the ways that we can grow through these changes is to be aware of our emotional responses. Be aware of the thoughts that come up. Be aware of every nuance of feelings and emotions. But then also in the midst of it, you may find new inspirations. You may find new understanding if we pay attention. So pay attention to how we're feeling and not try to resist the emotions that come up. But that's the human tendency, is to avoid pain at all cost. But the pain is our teacher. The pain teaches us what we care about. The pain teaches us where we're out of balance. The pain is a part of the growth. And if we just allow it for a short time, it will move through us. If we try to avoid it, if we try to repress it, if we try to ignore it, then it will just get worse. It will just keep building inside of us and get worse and worse, and we'll be more and more miserable as we go through the 3 stages. So as we can be accepting of ourselves, be the observer. What am I thinking? What am I feeling? And this is a process to go through, a practice rather, to go through every day. Is just notice how I'm feeling. Notice what thoughts are coming up. Notice my reactions. And so as we notice those, as we allow them, we accept ourselves without judgment. These are a natural part of the human process, whether we like it or not. And so the more aware we are, the more accepting we are, the more observant we are, the better we are going to, better experience we're going to have as we go through our transitions, whatever they are. As a spiritual community, we've already been through many major transitions in our 14 years. From that beginning with just 4 people on the steering team that were the organizers, and then from that 10 or 14, however many it was, to that first beginning, we've gone through a lot of change, you know. From meeting in a motel room to motel meeting room, rather. That would have been crowded. A motel meeting room that sometimes felt like a suite. But anyway, so we went from renting space into leasing our own space. That was a big move. And I have to tell you, I'll always be grateful for those of you who signed that lease with me, because you were accepting with me responsibility for paying that $12,000 for that first year of that first suite. That was a big step. And then we added other suites. And then we said, this isn't enough. We want our own property. But we've always wanted that from the beginning. That's been our shared goal of establishing this spiritual community, making it strong and permanent. And so then we said, okay, well, what are we going to have to do? We got to raise money. So we went through a capital campaign, and that was not easy. But yet you joined in. Everybody, there was such a togetherness and working together on different teams. And we were successful in raising a lot of money. And then there was the search for the property. That went on much longer. That one felt like the void, like wandering in the wilderness. I don't know how many properties that we looked at, but they were multitudes of properties. So first we started out thinking it's got to be 5 years and within 5 miles, and then we realized, no, it's got to be longer. So then we found this perfect place, and that's another whole story that I don't have time to share all that with you. And so then we went through the purchasing, and then we had to do construction to change this into a residential property, into a public use property. And then we moved, and moving is always a big transition that we go through. And boy, we got to the promised land. Wasn't that nice? We had about 3 nice breaths, and then the pandemic hit. And then we've been through that. We know how to do transition. Look how well we've done it. With every step we've gone through, we've done it well. Yeah, we wandered in the desert a little, and that's going to happen. But, you know, you come out. You find the promised land eventually. So we're in our promised land. But guess what? There's going to be a new promised land, a new vision, a new horizon to work toward, with new inspiration, new goals, new excitement, new opportunity. And so we want to keep those positive things in mind as we go through the ending, the void, and the new beginning. So the ending is recognizing, and if we're wise, accepting the change that we're experiencing, accepting that things cannot stay the same, accepting that there is time for a change, and acknowledging all the feelings that come up. And then we have the void. I don't know, I really want a different word for this, something that has a more positive time. The void is the time for inner reflection, introspection, questioning. Who am I? What do I want? Who do I want to be? What new expression of me can come out of this? This change is an opportunity for me to just start over, to asking those questions. Who am I now? Who do I want to be now? What do I want to express now? The void is the quiet time where we're gathering our strength, we're gathering our insights and wisdom, and getting ready to move toward the new beginning, the new horizon, the new opportunities, the new expression. And so going through these changes consciously makes it altogether different than it would be if we were doing it completely in fear and despair and discouragement and bitterness and all of those other negative things that the personality self can bring up. But there is something greater within us than that. So in this spiritual community, on that next slide, we have come together to minister to each other, to work together for the common good, just as we say in our new member ceremony there. We have a shared vision. We have a shared vision of a greater expression of this ministry. Not only this promised land, but an even greater promised land ahead. So we have come together to encourage one another and inspire one another. We are here for each other. One of the things that can happen and change is that we can try to, the human personality part of us may try to deal with change by forcing separation. If you know that someone has left your life or going to leave your life, or a job has left your life, or a home is whatever's left your life, is that we want to deal with it humanly. We want to deal with it by forcing the separation. If we're sad about separating, if we're sad about going our separate ways, if we're sad about leaving an old place to move to a new place, leaving an old relationship to a new place, we may unconsciously become angry, judgmental, bitterness, create conflict. I noticed that in my seminary class when we were getting ready for ordination, that people were getting irritated with each other. It's almost like we were picking fights with each other sometimes, like, boy, I'm going to be glad to leave you, you old cantankerous thing, you. I'm going to be glad you're not in my life anymore. That was not our truth. Our truth was, we're sad. We love these people. We have been working together in a profound way for 2 years, discovering ourselves with these other people. We had deep connection with these other people. And so sometimes the ego will deal with it in that way. So be aware as you go through any transition, and as you go through in this community. I've already seen it and experienced it a couple of times. Somebody being very angry or very hurt by what's going on, and it's their way of dealing. But we don't have to go there. If we do it with compassion and understanding, we don't have to go to a negative place because of the ego. We can let our spirit guide us peacefully through the transition. We can support and encourage one another, understand it when we make mistakes, when we get upset, when we're grieving, all of the things that happen and that are going to come up. So we are here to inspire and encourage one another, to remind each other of the divine order that is established. And let me quickly share with you a story. In our prayer group, we had someone that we were praying with, and this person was going to sell a house here, it was a couple, and they were trying to decide whether they had a house in another state. They were going to are we going to keep this house and the other house? And they went back and forth, and so we prayed with them to get clarity, and they did, and they decided to sell the house, and they were so happy that, this is what we really want to happen, and they had like 19 offers the first day they put it on the market. In 2 days they had, selected the buyer, and the closing was scheduled, and everything was rolling, and so the wife was saying, we're so thrilled. Look at this, prayer works, man. There's real divine order going on here. Look how quickly and easily this is happening. Just when we got clear that this is what we want, bam, 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 it's falling into place. And then the next week, she said, I'm so confused. I don't know what happened. Everything was going good. I thought this was all meant to be. I thought everything was in divine order. And we had these plans next year for this. We wanted to have this time in Florida next winter, and even though we're living somewhere else, and now we found out that this condo we put money down on just does not meet our needs, and we're not going to be happy in that. And you can't get your deposit back, once you do book one of these places. And so we prayed with her and said, well, let's just affirm divine order, and it's still in progress. This is just a little bump in the road. You are on track. Don't let one little piece of this get you so upset. So just be at peace, relax, and surrender to divine order blessing you. Next week, we found out that after prayer, the person actually the landlord returned the deposit on their place. Time opened in their schedule, and they found a new place to rent next winter that was even better than the one they had before. Because what we told her, and her husband going through that, just trust the process. Don't be upset by this little bump in the road. And so after they both got on board with that, and then when it all worked out to their good, they were once again ecstatic and grateful. So remember that. There may be bumps in the road, but together we can support one another in going through this and growing through this. So I want to share with you as I close this passage from Ephesians that we had in our ceremony. This is something that I hope will inspire you, and it's Ephesians chapter 4. Leonard, we have that slide. So there's many words of wisdom from Apostle Paul. As we said earlier in our ceremony welcoming our new members, live as is worthy to the rank to which you were called, with all humility and gentleness and patience, forbearing one another in love, endeavoring to preserve the harmony of the Spirit in the bond of peace, that you may become one body and one Spirit, even as you are called in the hope of your calling. Lay aside your former practices. Do not be anxious. Lay aside the old person. Be renewed in the spirit of your mind. And put on the new person, who is created by God in righteousness and holiness. Remember your strength. Remember your compassion. Remember your wisdom. Remember divine order. Remember God within you is greater than any challenge. And lastly, be kind to one another and tender-hearted, forgiving one another when we have our upsets, even as God has forgiven us through Christ. So I leave you with this last affirmation, that it is important to trust divine order and trust God within ourselves, whether we're going through our dramatic personal changes or whether we're going through it as a community. You have everything you need within you to make this a glorious opportunity for greater expression. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to one another. Encourage one another. Stand strong in your spiritual practices of prayer and meditation. And remember, you got this. You got this. And I am looking forward to hearing magnificent reports of your radiant expression of Spirit here. And so it is. God bless you.
We are grateful for your prayers and for your financial support. Every donation makes a difference in many lives. Because of your giving, we have a weekly homeless outreach. We have a supportive prayer ministry and meaningful Sunday services and classes, both in person and online. And because of your giving, we have this beautiful, peaceful spiritual center. On our website, unitynorthtampa.org, you can click on the donate button or send checks to our mailing address in the bulletin and on our website. If you're with us in person today, please put your donations in one of the offering baskets on the way out of the sanctuary or in the foyer. Thank you so much. As Bill said earlier, we've learned that we are indeed a blessed spiritual community, and it's because of all of us working together. Please join me in declaring our abundance affirmation. I am divine love and infinite abundance. All that I am, have, give, and receive multiplies and blesses me and the world.
Yes. Thank you, Vicki. Let's join together in giving thanks for our abundance here at Unity North Tampa. And as we close our eyes and bring our intentions again into our hearts, we give thanks for every gift that we have received, knowing that each one is given in love, recognizing that one and only source recognizing the value of the unity spiritual principles that bless us every day. We give thanks for each gift and dedicate it, whether it has been sent in by mail, electronically, or in person. We dedicate it to the will and the work of the Christ. Amen.
Jan Cohen leads our grief recovery group today from 12:30 to 2:30 in the fellowship area. Shirley Rowell and Amanda Stanko will be co-leading a drumming and sharing circle today from 1 to 3 here in the sanctuary. This event will include smudging, opening and closing of the sacred circle, and offer the opportunity to speak your love and gratitude to Reverend Virginia. You still have time to get your 50-50 drawing tickets and help our ministry and give yourself a chance to win some extra cash, and who can't use extra cash? And remember to give 50-50 flyers to your friends and neighbors and co-workers to increase the amount of the prize and our prosperity. It says here a transition report, and for those of you that were in here, this may be a repeat, but the people in the fellowship hall probably didn't hear it. We did get our application packet in the mail to send to Unity Worldwide Headquarters, and they'll be posting the job and also then sending us applicants that they have done the background check on and have also affirmed that they are in good standing with Unity Worldwide Ministries. So we're looking forward to the next step, which is to begin receiving those applications. As we are wandering in the void a little bit right now, and the transition will continue, but Reverend Virginia and I are going to meet on Tuesday, so I can pick up some of the things that she has been carrying all this time. And one of those things is the list of everyone that's volunteered and what you volunteered to help us with as we go through this transition. So you can look forward to hearing from me. I've been told I'm pretty relentless, but I'm always very polite. And would our prayer chaplains who are on duty please stand? Our prayer chaplains are available to pray with you privately after the service. Everything shared with them is absolutely confidential. Our prayer chaplains who are on duty are wearing purple stoles. Virginia?
So normally we do ask you too, as soon as the service is over, to please leave the sanctuary quietly so that our prayer chaplains may have a time to pray with those. But for a few minutes when we end, if you are physically capable, we need to get the chairs in the room placed around the periphery of the room. So if anybody's physically able to help us rearrange the chairs, that would be great. So we can get ready for the next event. If you're not helping with the chairs, we invite you to go to fellowship or outside to visit until the next thing. We'd be a little late starting on our 2 events, but everything is in divine order, right? So we appreciate your patience and your assistance today with these logistics. Thank you very much. So it is time for us to stand for our peace song. And though we do not sing at this time yet, but look forward to the day when we can. If you want to hold hands with someone next to you, if that's comfortable for you, then please do that. And just smile and hum as we sing, or listen to rather, one of our beloved songs in unity. Free this way. on this prayer, and I invite you to hold this prayer in your hearts, not just to say it broadly, but be conscious of what you're saying, and saying it perhaps daily for yourself as well, to remind you who you are and why you are here. Together, let's affirm our truth. The light of God surrounds us. We are light. The love of God enfolds us. We are love. The power of God protects us. We are power. The presence of God watches over us. We are presence. Wherever we are, God is within us, and all is well. Amen.